It's Deprogrammed, the podcast where we try to get you into an artist or band. Today's artist is TLC, and hard work worked for them. They got all the way to the top, and hard work can work for you. Hard Work Works fitness app, free download on your app store, and only $9.99 a month. It's a 2-week free trial currently. Get on that jack and get yourself jacked. Actually, I'm for real going to get on board because the dieting during this whole quarantine thing not working. I need to work out. It's not going well. So I'm going to work out, and Joe is going to help me. Hard Work Works Fitness. Check it out. Hashtag join the hustle. That's enough of that. Love Joe, but we got to move on. Today, more important things. TLC, actually, I think I plopped them up on the list because a few years ago, I had been listening to the albums as I was walking just for fun. And I put them up on the suggested list. And I think, Sarah, one of your last appearances before the last appearance, you said, I'd love to do TLC. So talk to me about TLC and your relationship with them.
So TLC was among the first CDs I ever got. You know, when you have your big Christmas gift in the year you get a stereo. TLC was in that first batch, and I can't imagine my parents selected it for me. I'm sure I asked, but it was Crazy Sexy Cool was one of the first 4 CDs I got, along with Boyz II Men 2 and Aerosmith. The one with the red cover, and the name is, of course, out of my mind. And I can't remember what the 4th CD was, but it would really shock me if it wasn't Alanis Morissette. And so because I had those 4 CDs, and they were constantly going through, constantly rotating. And and Crazy Sexy Cool was constantly in my Discman. There was an entire summer that I spent by the pool, and I want to say it was in those cusp pubescent years early on, when you still want to play and run around, but you desperately want to be cool, but you don't know how to do it. And TLC was just the tits, I guess. This is this way, not, probably the most eloquent way to say it, but they were just the epitome of cool at the time in the 90s. I just loved everything about it, and dedicated my whole, formative pubescent phase to them, not in a sexy way, but there was a lot. As I'm listening to these albums, it's one of those things where I was like, why didn't I guess I was probably way too young to be singing these lyrics, but I knew all of them. So I feel like asking my mom about that, actually.
What was it like listening to me? Let's listen to this stuff. All right,
yeah,
Bryan.
I don't know if she didn't notice or just assumed I didn't know, but
maybe. All right.
Yeah, she was right.
So when we did Arcade Fire, I was talking to Sarah about doing this episode, TLC, and we didn't have a third. And you almost immediately said, I'll do that one. So first of all, how did you miss TLC on the big board? But follow up, talk to me about your relationship with TLC. Why are you here today?
Are we talking to me now? I missed that part where I was introduced here.
Yes,
sorry about that. The same album, really, for Crazy Sexy Cool. I remember seeing the video for Ain't Too Proud to Beg on MTV, probably a year prior to that. But, I was a kid. I just saw a video. We saw a lot of videos back then. But then I remember my sister bought Crazy Sexy Cool. And I remember, I knew every fucking song from that album, and that it was one of those albums that everybody had, like Sarah said, just that era, in the mid 90s, everybody had the same albums. So I really enjoyed it. I didn't know what Red Light Special meant. The only thing I knew a Red Light Special was the roast beef part at fucking Golden Corral. I was like, yeah, give me that meat, yeah. So, but yep, I was just singing songs about fucking as an 11-year-old boy. So it's cool.
So, sort of similar. I never had the connection, apparently, that either of you all had with TLC, but I connected with them So, what about your friends and the singles from Ooh on the TLC tip? Those found me early on. Never enough to get into the group, but enough that they were well on my radar by the time Crazy Sexy Cool comes out. And I don't remember exactly the order of the singles, but Creep, Red Light Special, as those start hitting the airwaves, I'm like, oh man, they really grew up, at least sound-wise, and just enjoying, I always hate saying this, but their brand of feminism. Which, as I'm listening to their music, I realize that they're kind of the first wave of girl power without the peace signs. Like, I feel like TLC gave way to the Spice Girls more than people realize, maybe. I don't think it's an apples to oranges comparison, but I realize that they opened the door for girl power. I saw you nodding, Sarah, so I was seeing.
It's funny you said that. I thought the exact same thing about the Spice Girls. And I don't know if it was like a phrase or, did they use the phrase girl power? I can't even say for sure, but I never had made that connection until I listened to them again as an adult, which seems weird to me because TLC continued to stay integrated through my music throughout my childhood. And then the Spice Girls jumped in there at some point. And for whatever reason, I never connected the two together, probably because of the way that Richmond divided up their radio stations.
Oh.
This being pre-streaming, things sort of got segmented out for us. So it is entirely possible that TLC lived on the hip hop station and Spice Girls were on the pop channel. I know that TLC was, high circulating in pop too, but for whatever reason, they just, that connection was never made until I was like this week.
I mean, they were pretty heavily R&B. I mean, they were on the Face record.
Yeah.
Shit, so,
yeah.
But I never really realized until in retrospective, which what we're all talking about really, but it's like black feminism.
Yeah.
From women. Like, it's not a voice you even hear a lot today. It was just like this weird, and not weird. It's not weird to be about black feminism, but it was like so in your face in a way that the Spice Girls are more all inclusive kind of thing. So, but TLC, like you had En Vogue, you had these great R&B groups, but they weren't really like, I don't know. I never say En Vogue was like a feminist group or speaking for like black women, but like TLC were, I think.
Absolutely. And I made I think the direct comparison is Salt and Peppa into TLC.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And I think it's lost how important TLC was, as you said, for black women, being out in front and being so open, and then losing Left Eye when we did, which is why we didn't include the last TLC record, because no Left Eye, is it really TLC?
I'm out.
I respect them for doing it. I really do. It is their group, but the L in TLC is Left Eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Come on.
Well, it's interesting that you guys mentioned the black feminism angle. There were a few times when I was listening and I thought, oh man, I wonder what, and not just because, we lost Left Eye, but also just thinking about like, how would this have progressed? How would this be received today? And especially because there's so much movement stemming from that exact time in music, when you're looking at some of these socio-political issues with like surviving R. Kelly and when, young black girls go missing and all of this social justice and things that are being addressed finally after long last and hopefully continually from now on. That era, a lot of that sort of started in that same time. And it's really fascinating to look at it from that standpoint too, but we don't have time to get into all that research.
No, probably shouldn't either.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
But to your point, I would love to hear what Left Eye would have to say about today. Like,
yeah.
just, I mean,
She probably would have burned the White House down, which would have been great.
There's some places where we've seen some progress, and there's some places where it's like, has anything got improved? So yeah, it would be really interesting, and to have that snapshot, is one of the really great things about listening to your throwback jams.
Yeah.
So with that, we decided. Actually, Bryan, you decided. I agreed that we're going with 15 songs here. So, Sarah, what was it like putting your 15 songs together as you start going through this?
Surprisingly balanced. I thought that I would have a lot more on Fan Mail and Crazy Sexy Cool, but I was able to keep them pretty even, which sort of surprised me because I have such deep emotional connections to those two albums and not so much the first or the last, but yeah, it kind of it balanced for me. I was surprised.
Well, that works. Bryan?
I had a lot more from the first record than I expected because I listened to it. I never owned it, but like I had Crazy Sexy Cool, and I heard stuff from Fan Mail when it came out. But like their first album, the stuff I heard, I was just like, this is okay. But like revisiting it now, it's fucking good.
Yeah.
I originally had more songs from that than I had any other record, which I was very surprised about.
So can we take a moment and have a shout out for like the intros and the outros?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I appreciate.
There's a lot of interludes on there too.
Yeah, and they just sort of made I really am appreciating them, and I'm thinking this is several times I thought these are well produced
and fun, and they added another layer to the record.
It was an inherently 90s R&B hip hop thing.
Yes.
To have all the interludes.
Yeah.
It's a lost art these days. I think 50's first record had some on there, and that was the last one I can recall that had like consistent interludes and skits and stuff.
So as I'm putting my list together, again, I leaned heavily on the first two. I enjoyed Fan Mail, and this was the first time I'd ever given Fan Mail once through, like, all the way. Like, I'd heard the radio songs, Your Unpretties, well, really only No Scrubs and Unpretty. Like, I believe there's one or two others, but those were the only two I'd heard. So I was familiar with those two. I was surprised with how good 3D was as a record. Like, it felt like a complete record, but then like as I'm busting it up to try to include stuff into the conversation, I found, well, they kind of do everything I need on the first three records, and I still had some stuff from 3D for fairness purposes, but of the records, that one's got the least for sure. So
all right, here it goes. You brought it up. I'm talking about it.
Okay.
So 3D, I didn't know anything about this record. I didn't even know it existed until we talked about doing the show.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked into it, and it's a posthumous record for Left Eye. What they did was they took her unfinished solo tracks and integrated them into the album, and there's something inherently wrong for me.
Oh, I don't like that.
It's like, yeah, I don't like that at all. And like if I had my solo shit recorded and then I died and like one of my bands recorded it, I would be pissed. Like I wouldn't be pissed because I'd be dead, but like it would be so disrespectful to me that happened. And so in principle, I don't have anything from that album on my list because that's shit that was supposed to be Left Eye and not TLC. And if
I didn't know that.
If they wanted to make a record, they should have changed their name or just made it without her entirely. So I'm protesting that record forever.
So
I knew it was posthumous, but I didn't know that she hadn't recorded anything.
It was from her like two solo records she was working on.
Man.
Oh man. Oh well, now I feel like I have to go redo this.
No, it's okay. I'm just not gonna. We're not gonna connect on any of those songs for me.
Oh,
okay.
But I do have two songs that if you guys bring them up, I'm not gonna hate you for it. So I still listen to it and still pick some songs off it, even though it's against my principles. But
that definitely sours me on it too. So I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But
I'm sure that T-Boz and Chili thought that they were doing right, but me personally, that would be a huge no for me.
Well, kind of like Sarah alluded, like it's one thing if you are to make a posthumous record where these were TLC songs that she was working on.
The stuff that they were working on together, or that stuff that Left Eye was laying down for their record. But the fact that it came from her unreleased solo stuff really just...
That's gross.
Yeah, like I was walking around the neighborhood yesterday and listening to it. And I'm just like, I Googled it and I was like, I hate this now. Like I just can't get into it. Like I'm against this whole thing on principle. At least like the last record they put out, which we didn't even include, they didn't even try to bring Left Eye into it. Like,
right.
That's fine with me. I mean, they should still change their name, but whatever. Like, they didn't try to like use her tracks to still live off that shit, and that's better for me than taking her solo stuff and making it yours.
Well, I guess even to that point, I was reading up on some stuff about fan mail. And fan mail almost didn't happen, essentially, because she was working on solo stuff, I think, and I think Chili was dating the producer or something, and it fan mail almost blew up in their faces, essentially.
Yeah.
So, that just that leaves a really sour taste in my mouth about that.
I'm sorry to drop that bomb on y'all, but like I've been sitting on that this whole weekend. I'm just like, I'm gonna get on there, I'm gonna ruin the show.
Well, I mean, and I will say this: it's not like I have a ton.
I'm a huge Left Eye fan. Like Left Eye is what made TLC for me. Like you can't do that without her, for me.
Yeah. Well, I guess with that, we'll move into Deprogrammed. The name of the game is Deprogrammed. We have each combed through the 4 records and picked out 15 songs that we're now going to mash against each other in an attempt to create a top 10 starter kit 3 albums for Bryan. And with that, I think I'm going to start here. I don't know that it's necessarily my favorite, but it's the one I think of all the time, every time I think of TLC. Creep.
I have it. I mean, you know me in singles, but it's a fucking undeniably great song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got it.
It has to be.
It definitely still slaps today.
Absolutely.
So.
Well, and that was the thing, is if it didn't hit me the same way, then I might not have had it. But it's still a great tune, and I was listening to it just before we started the show. I was just listening to it just cause, not for the show, just cause. I still love that tune. So, all right. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, all right.
Let's get the negativity out of the way. All right. Sarah?
All right. I'm going to knock out my 3D one since I know Bryan won't agree. Turntable.
You know what?
Nope.
I don't have it, but it was one I considered.
Okay.
I don't have
that. That was not one of my 2 that I will allow.
Okay, fair.
All right, Bryan?
All right, I'm going to go to... I hate the fake saxophone sound they use on the song. I always have since I was a kid. But I love this song so much, but I still can't get over that fucking saxophone sound. Because I know they had real horns on Creep. I don't know why they did it on this song. Digging on You.
Oh, digging on you.
I have it.
Digging on you. I don't.
It opens
God,
up
I love that.
I'm like, why don't you use a real horn? Like, I know you have them.
God, that album was tough. I don't have it, but it goes to the conversation. So
it's a good one.
Yeah, it was definitely one of the ones I threw on the list without even thinking about. I never gave 2 thoughts to the fake saxophone so now you've ruined it for me forever.
No, it's still good. It's still a good song, but like I just giggle every time I hear it. It sounds like a MIDI saxophone.
That's probably a very accurate description of what it is.
So I'm going to go here. I'm going to go to fan mail. And I mentioned this because it's one of the singles, but this was almost a throwaway single when it came out. Like, I remember it coming out. I remember hearing it. I remember being impressed by what the song is about. This time coming back to it, remembering what it was about and listening to it, being impressed with the song. Unpretty.
I've got it.
I never liked that song. Like, I like what it's about. That song never struck me in any way. I don't know. Maybe because I'm so pretty, but I don't know.
Let me tell you, if you were a teenage girl and you heard that song, it was your soul.
I totally get it. Like, I understand why it was a hit song. I understand why people like it. it never hit me in any way.
It's funny that song and the meaning of that song can still be so freaking relevant. Like women still can't just be women. Like they have to be pretty women. They can't just be who the hell they are. Still, what, 20 years later? That's insane.
And I certainly understand what it's like to feel ugly or and all that. I mean, we all know my struggle with body dysmorphia, but for some reason that song just I just don't like it.
Well, it made it to the conversation, so you can pick a bone with it later. All right, Sarah?
Dirty Dirty.
Oh.
Is that one of your 3D ones?
Nope.
I don't have I don't have that one either.
You're killing me.
I like that you're taking the misses. You're going for the misses first. I like that.
Let's just get them out of the way.
Let's just make Bryan happy first, and then we can get on with the show.
All right, Bryan.
Again, it's a single. It still slaps real hard for me. What About Your Friends?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, I cut it.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it hurt me, but I cut it.
What about your friends?
It's a good song.
It's good, but I couldn't shake the thought of it starting up a sitcom, and therefore, it kind of like, it just felt very like it belonged in front of a TV show. So that, I had it and I had to cut it. So it's discussion for sure. I'm sure I will let it through when it comes up.
Fair enough.
All right, I'm going to stay on that album then. We've talked about it twice now, and we talked about black feminism, feminism in general. Ain't Too Proud to Beg.
See,
I got it.
That's the single I cut, because that song doesn't really do much for me. And that's like the first song I ever heard from them. Like I saw the video, like Left Eye had the condom on her left eye in the video. That song just never hit me. I don't know. I think they have better versions of what that song is supposed to be on that record. But.
Okay. All right. Well, it moves to the conversation. All right. Sarah?
Switch.
Yes.
Crazy Sexy Cool.
Yes.
Switch. Oh, I didn't cut it. I thought that was one of the ones I cut. Yeah, I got that shit.
And a Switch.
That's right. I cut something from fan mail so I wouldn't have to cut Switch.
All right. Bryan?
All right. I picked this song entirely because of Andre 3000, which is one early use of that man, that genius of a man. Something Wicked This Way Comes.
Yep.
The closing track.
Yep.
Got it.
ATL. We're going full ATL in here.
I don't know if the rest of the song lives up to his opening verse, but like the fact that he's on it and it's such a huge record, and this is before Outkast became like fucking worldwide.
Yeah.
Just love it.
Yeah.
I love anything with Andre 3000 on it.
Right? I can't ignore the man.
He's musically, he plays every instrument, and he's just one of the greatest rappers of all time. Period.
Bryan, have you ever seen him live?
No, would love to.
It's like face melting. Like okay, well, I don't want to go off on a Outkast tangent, but the way that they are live is incredible.
I love Outkast. I want to see him live. I just don't like white people.
That's fair. Yeah, I saw him at Hangout Fest, and the only reason I was able to really get a good look was because they had mistakenly booked me in the wrong room, and therefore they upgraded me for free.
Nice.
So that was like, it was pure luck.
All right. So the listeners put this one out too. This song's impossible for me to ignore. I'm going fan mail again. No Scrubs.
I got it too, man. Again, it's a big hit song, but it's fucking slaps, dude. It's a great song.
Yeah.
You can't ignore that one, right? And I mean, when it's so big that it spawned a parody that's not Weird Al, like No Pigeons was.
Yeah. Oh God. What a terrible song that is.
I don't want them pigeons.
Ugh.
But nah, man. Like it's
still used in memes today.
Yeah.
Like words from that song. I mean, it's an iconic song.
Yeah.
Yeah, it became part of the cultural lexicon for sure.
Yeah.
I think that, like, outside of Waterfalls, I think that's their biggest song, like, that withstood the test of time.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah.
I think that might be like the definitive TLC song. When you mentioned it, maybe Creep, but I think that was a bigger hit. I think.
Yeah, fair.
All right. Sarah?
All right. Well, since we're talking singles, Waterfalls made my list.
It did not make mine just because I had to make room for other album cuts on Crazy Sexy Cool. But
Yeah, I think it was the cultural iconism that held it on for me.
the
Justin?
video's great. I mean,
Yeah.
So this was a calculated risk. I cut it off. Between radio play, between the fact that you can still hear it, and I mean, it's a great tune. I guess I was kind of hoping Bryan would save me. That's the best way I can put it. So,
I mean, I wrestled with it because it's, the show, so much I come back to the premise of the game, right? Like, what are we doing? We're introducing people to this. And it hung on for me. I am just swinging and missing today, y'all.
I wanted to add it just because of the reference to the Nice Guys with the Michael Keaton character, where he just references like all the TLC hit songs.
yes.
Hilarious to me. But
All right, Bryan?
all right. I will go with fan mail. I'm good at being bad.
Nope.
Got it.
Okay. This is very interesting. This is a lot of
The thing with fan mail to me, I like that record. I don't love it. I think it's just Crazy Sexy Cool's a better version of that, and they didn't follow it up well for me. I mean, outside of No Scrubs, which is a monumental song, but the rest of it's just like, I've heard this before.
I think the big thing is the chaos that was happening in the group, and it really plays out. Like, one of the things I noticed is, and that's why I pointed out that 3D, while I hate it now,
You're welcome.
with the new information, but 3D feels like a complete record, whereas fan mail does not. Fan mail, I mean, Crazy Sexy Cool does, because with all the interludes and everything, and Ooh on the TLC tip, same, but fan mail doesn't feel like a complete record. It feels like there's some just straight bangers in there. You got your No Scrubs, you got your Unpretty that I really enjoy, and then it's just kind of a mismatch of a couple other songs. So
Yeah, and they used a lot more producers on that record than any other record as well. Like they used their original team they worked with on their first two, but then they also kind of brought in some new people, and I think it was too many cooks for me.
Yep, and it really plays that way.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. All right, I think I'm going to go ahead and dive into the couple 3D picks I made here, because I think we're just about safe. I got Quickie. Nope.
I had it.
Oh. I'll put it in the conversation because Sarah had it. So, all right.
You guys can have that conversation.
And it officially gets us out of NTP, but it will be the first one to get cut if we pull anything else through.
Goddamn right it will.
Which we better. All right. Sarah?
Back to the beginning. This is how it should be done. Off of Ooh.
No. That was a hard cut for me.
Oh, I think I cut something that I didn't mean to cut. All right. Poor Sarah.
I'm telling you. I'm starting to question my identity.
All right, Bryan?
All right. Baby, baby, baby.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't have it. I love it, but I didn't have it.
Good one.
Yeah. All right. How about Silly Ho?
I really wanted to like that song, but I don't.
I like it, but I cut it.
Okay. All right. Into the trash it goes. Perhaps where it belongs. Sarah.
Come on down, fan mail.
Nope.
No.
I'm telling you, why did I show up today?
All right, Bryan.
All right. Speaking of feminism, his story on Who on the TLC tip.
No.
The song's basically about, like, it doesn't matter what happens in the relationship. They're always going to take his story.
Yeah.
And that'll be the truth. And I mean, it definitely foreshadowed a lot of shit that Left Eye went through.
It did. And I love the message. Well, I don't love the message, but I love, that they like took the time to make that message. Who was the intro referring to? Did you catch that?
No, I
To
don't know.
look it up and then I ran off of something shiny. I have to look into that. But no, I liked and appreciated the song, but it didn't make it for me.
If we would have had 20, it would have made it.
Yeah, for sure.
I was like, maybe I made the bad call with the 15, but I was like, 20 would be easy. It would have been a lot easier for me to do 20. Like 15 is what made it harder for me. So.
Okay. I keep passing over this one. Red Light Special.
Oh yeah.
I've got it, and that's my last one, actually.
Did you say that was your last one?
Yeah, everything on my list has been cut up for discussion or passed.
Oh yeah, I guess I have a couple left. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm done.
All right, and
but yes, Red Light. I'm done.
Yeah, it's a great song. I was thinking about fucking at 11 years old. So.
Right?
Same.
And I still make a reference to that song. I made it last week. My roommate got the Amazon lights that you can tell Alexa to change the light colors on it. And it was red. And I was like, what do you give them, the red light special? And she didn't get it. And I was like, I hate the youth.
You crazy kids.
Yeah.
All right. Brian, you want to trot one out there? See what you got.
All right. I got That's the Way We Like 'Em.
Oh, man. Nope.
I obviously have nothing to contribute anymore.
So I'm just going to bounce these last couple off of Brian.
Okay.
Case of the Fake People.
That was the one, my last cut from that record.
Shock That Monkey.
I got Shock That Monkey.
All right, into the combo.
That was a tough cut for me.
It's good.
It is a good introduction to the band.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
Yeah, it is. It is. You're right.
Don't Pull Out on Me Yet.
No.
Nice double.
And it's on my honorable mentions, but no, it never made it.
All right, and then these last two, see if I found Brian's 2 for 3D. Hey, 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 hey.
No.
Girl Talk.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, so I'm going to put Girl Talk over in the conversation, and I'm going to drop Quickie, even though it legitimately made the list.
Just for the sake of being all-inclusive here, I'm fine with that one going through.
Well, it may not yet. I'm just putting it to the conversation.
With a huge asterisk over my left eye. Not why it shouldn't go at all.
All right, so we've got... Do you want to go ahead and clear yours out, Brian?
Yeah, I have... let's see, Bad By Myself. Let's Do It Again.
Oh, Let's Do It Again. That was a squeaker for me.
And then My Life. From Fan Mail.
All right, so...
And my other one that I would have allowed from 3D was Damaged.
That was definitely one that had gotten through on my first round. All right, so we got 5 here. Creep, Switch, Something Something Wicked This Way Comes, easy for me to say, Red Light Special, and No Scrubs, all the way through.
All right, so we don't really need anything else from Crazy Sexy Cool to go through, is what you're saying.
Good. That one's good, yeah.
And the only thing that is still in the conversation is Digging on You anyway. So
that's a great song. If you want to laugh with that terrible sound, listen to it. But it's also a great song.
But I think we got that one good and covered. So we got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 that we need to trim down to 5. So do we bother getting anything from 3D, even though we have the one Brian approved song?
Well, you already know how I feel about this, man.
I feel like
I'm fine cutting it. Let's get rid of it.
Same. All right. So now
we have 5 to go through, you said?
We need 5 and we have 6.
That'll be easy.
So we got to make one cut here. From these, Unpretty, Shock That Monkey, What About Your Friends, Ain't Too Proud to Beg, Baby, 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 and I'm Good at Being Bad.
Unpretty should go through. I'm Good at Being Bad should go through, just so we have that record represented, I think.
Okay.
I think Shock That Monkey should go through.
Yeah.
Okay. So that,
because I really didn't want to cut it, but I had to.
And we had what about your friends and baby, baby, baby?
And Ain't Too Proud to Beg. So one of these has to go. What about your friends? Ain't Too Proud to Beg, baby, baby, baby has to go into the trash.
Well, I like I said about Ain't Too Proud to Beg, it was never been a song I liked from them. So, but I'm fine with it going through as well because I don't want to just take over this whole show.
Now,
how much do we have of fan mail?
3. So right now we have 4 from Crazy Sexy Cool, 3 from fan mail, and if we pull the 2 from Ooh, then we've got 3 for Ooh, which I think is pretty balanced.
That's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, that is pretty good.
You just gotta figure out which one's going though, which one's leaving the list.
So it sounds like Baby 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 is in. That the fight is between what about, because I remember Sarah saying what about your friends reminds her of a sitcom, like a sitcom intro. Unless I'm completely misreading the situation.
That's
what I thought, but it does have a good, solid message. I mean, I'll allow it. It isn't my favorite.
So let's go with Ain't Too Proud to Beg. It's more of a hip hop song. It wasn't my pick, but I think it's a more diverse pick to make. Because What About Your Friends is like a pretty standard kind of hip hop R&B song, but like Ain't Too Proud to Beg is more of a hip hop song.
I remember thinking What About Your Friends could have been done by another group, but I feel like Ain't Too Proud to Beg has to be done by TLC.
I honestly did for the longest time. I didn't realize that they did that song until probably when probably after Crazy Sexy Cool came out. I was like, oh, I like that song. That's TLC? Oh, shit, I didn't even know. So, yeah, I agree with you there.
That is a great point, and I think that's the selling point here. So that gives us our 10. Creep, Switch, Something This Wicked This Way Comes. Why can't I say that right the first time? Red Light Special, No Scrubs, Unpretty, I'm Good at Being Bad, Shock That Monkey, Ain't Too Proud to Beg, Baby, Baby, Baby. And Sarah, I'm putting the fire to your feet to the fire, whatever the saying is. You're on fire right now.
Oh no!
What's the number one with a bullet?
Creep.
Ooh, okay. What are you thinking, Brian?
It was between Creep or No Scrubs. I would much prefer Creep to be it, though.
Okay, I'm with it.
Finally, a song called Creep that I like.
And is acceptable.
Yeah.
Now, Creep is exactly what I was thinking, too. So,
all right,
we go. Yeah, I think it's completely on brand, and it's fucking, that's TLC. It's them at their best. So,
I mean, even just like the opening, like horns are just like you already know what song that is. Like nobody has to even sing. It's so good.
Oh,
Wow. Yeah.
Oh, God. So creep. Yeah. God.
Yep.
Now I'm going to be listening to that later again.
I was very much enjoying my revisiting of TLC.
Oh, absolutely.
It's fun. I hate the negative connotation of 3D now. I'll never go back to that one. But I feel like revisiting specifically Ooh and Crazy Sexy Cool, that's going to happen a lot because those are just fun records. And they're as Sarah said before, it's a great snapshot of that era. And the fact that they can be a snapshot of the era but still play well today. I love that. It's not 100% nostalgia working here. It's just these are good tracks.
Yeah, it's not like you throw it on. It's like, oh, throwback jams. It's like, no, this is fucking still good.
Yeah,
it's better than a lot of shit that's on like out right now for sure.
Well, Brian, I just messaged you earlier about your next foray. Likely, probably, Metric. Finally going to happen.
Very excited about that.
And then we keep talking about St. Vincent, but I keep not putting the panel together. So
I could talk about St. Vincent for hours.
So I know those two for sure are on your horizon. I know there's some stuff again up for you, Sarah, but I think a lot of your stuff is just kind of sitting waiting on a second panel member. So I don't know if there's one that you like really want to do that you want to put out there that's like, hey, jump on this.
Yeah, in the sad aftermath of the postponed Alanis Morissette Liz Phair concert, I bet I could get a friend to join me for Liz Phair.
Ooh, okay. All right. I'm into that. I'll throw that up on the board. I thought you were going to say Alanis, because Alanis is somebody I've been dying to
Alanis
dive
hasn't
into.
been done yet?
No. Nope.
Oh, shut the front door. All right, that's happening.
And I imagine it's not going to be hard. The second I put her name up there, somebody's going to jump on, probably.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
dibs. Hard dibs.
All right. I've been dying to get into Alanis. I loved Jagged Little Pill. I never followed her after, other than, a few
You
singles
don't
here and
have
there.
to.
Yeah. I mean, it's there, but
Oh, okay. Well, spoilers.
Jagged Little Pill is peak Alanis.
Look,
Except for when she played God in that one movie.
yeah, and
Dogma.
yeah. Long story short, she got happy, and we all know how that shit works with artists when they get happy.
Yeah, you gotta have good and depressed.
Yeah, on drugs, sad, suicidal, good,
So,
happy.
Trifecta if you can get it. Yeah.
yeah. So this was pretty agreeable. We blew through this. And honestly, like I'm just kind of drawing it out at this point. I don't want to do that. I don't want people at the end going, "Oh God, shut up." So
I'm sorry for dropping that bomb on your show, man, but
no, we needed that though. Like it definitely informs the list. Like
it could just be my personal thing because like I'm an artist, and if I was recording something for solo purposes, and then one of my I don't even care. I mean, I like all my bands obviously, but if one of my bands did it, it would be just so out of line for me.
it is. She recorded those for the purpose of a Left Eye solo record. Like that's
and like if they would have used the whole thing, that would have been another thing. But they just kind of cut the bits out to fit it in because she never got a whole fucking track on that song. She always had like a verse or two here and there.
Yeah.
So it's like they even take the whole essence of the song. They just took whatever they would give her in the song and use that. It felt gross to me.
it's really gross. Absolutely. But with that, TLC, learn them and love them, people. We'll see you next week. Bye.